A former Democratic congressman pledged his undying support to President Trump after confirming that he was switching parties. Southern New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew was one of 3 Democrats to vote no on at least one article of impeachment. His district covers Atlantic City and some Philadelphia suburbs, and it was rumored at the time that he would become a Republican after the vote. Well, he made it official at the White House yesterday.
This is just a better fit for me. This is who I am. It's who I always was, but there was more tolerance of moderate Democrats, of blue dog Democrats, of conservative Democrats, and I think that's going away. You have my undying support.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And always.
And by the way, same way.
Thank you.
I'm endorsing him, okay?
So Matt Friedman is a reporter for Politico New Jersey, and he joins me now from Philadelphia. You know, Matt, when you look at Jeff Van Drew's voting record, nearly 90% of the time he voted against the president. They've only really agreed on impeachment, the budget, USMCA, trade deal. So why is he becoming a Republican now?
Well, the bottom dropped out of his Democratic Party support after his stance on impeachment. Internal polls showed that his support by Democrats in the district was in the 20s. It was untenable. Grassroots progressive activists, and there are many in those districts, never liked him. He has a long record in the state legislature in New Jersey, almost 20 years of being a conservative Democrat. But when it came to impeachment, party leaders had to start recognizing that they couldn't force him through. He used to get a pass on his more conservative votes, and he couldn't get that in Congress as opposed to the state legislature, where his district was even more conservative. I also think that a lot of party leaders saw him costing them state legislative seats in this last election here in New Jersey. We do it in odd years for the state legislature. And his successor for state senate and two assembly running mates lost. And part of the reason they lost, a lot of Democrats blamed at least, the fact that they were kind of cozying up to Trump in rhetoric. And it didn't enthuse the Democrats in the district, and it didn't really convince the Republicans. And a lot of party leaders blame Van Drew for that because that was his strategy. So
now that he'll be running as a Republican in 2020, what Democrats are looking to challenge him?
Well, first, he's got to make it through a Republican primary, and I'd say he's the front runner at this point, but it's not a given. There's already 3 Republicans in this race who wanted to run, and there's a lot of bad blood here with Van Drew in the Republican Party. I mean, he's been basically kicking their butts in a lot of elections for almost 20 years, so they're not exactly willing. They're not all willing to embrace him, but some will follow the president's lead. That's vulnerable. We already have 2 declared Democrats. One just declared today. We have Bridget Harrison. She's a professor of political science in North Jersey, but she lives in South Jersey in the district and is a native. And we have a freeholder, which is a local county legislator from Atlantic County, where her name is Ashley Bennett, and she has also declared. She actually came into office beating a guy who's very Trumpish, who during the Women's March, what really led to his downfall was he took to social media and wrote, "All these women out in the streets, are they going to make me a sandwich?" Wow. That cost him the election. She came in there. His name was actually John Carmen. It's funny because the things he said might as well have been Eric Cartman. And you have that other guy, John Francis, who's calls himself, I think, a planet traveler, sort of a liberal activist, been around for a while. Bridget Harrison already has the support of most of the Democratic machine. That's pretty formidable down there.
Speaking of Democratic machine, you know, in 2018, Van Drew won this seat by 7 points. That was as a Democrat. Is there a sense as to which party has the advantage in 2020?
Well, the district we're talking about is pretty odd for New Jersey. Most of New Jersey went the opposite way of Trump. A lot of Republican districts in central North Jersey, very highly educated, wealthy districts, had been traditionally Republican, and now they're Democratic. This district, even though it went Democratic, Trump won it in 2016, even though Obama had won it in 2008 and 2012. It had been represented by a Republican for 24 years, but a very moderate Republican, and it was considered a Democratic-leaning district. But Trump has sort of flipped that. It's a rural district. It's a very large district in area, and I'd say that in the Trump era, it leans a little bit in Republican favor, but it's very much a swing district. I would say if Van Drew is the nominee, he probably has the advantage, but it's not a huge advantage.
So while we have you here, I understand you've got some reporting on a challenger to New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, who's also running for president. What can you tell us?
Sure. His name is Larry Hamm, big Bernie Sanders supporter. He's the chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign in New Jersey. He's from Booker's hometown of Newark. He's been around a long time. He's a big civil rights activist. And, in terms of whether he represents any electoral threat to Booker, assuming Booker's presidential campaign doesn't work out, not really. But it's just interesting that someone from his hometown, and he'll run on the line with Bernie Sanders, and they'll have Bernie Sanders related candidates up and down, probably, from county office on up.
Matt Friedman. Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.